Hi, welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Aitken, and throughout my career as a racing journalist and form analyst, I've watched hundreds of thousands of races. And usually after the race, you can identify a particular factor that went into deciding the race, deciding the winner. What we might call the winning factor. Here on this show, we're trying to sort out what that winning factor is going to be, but before the race, so we can profit from it. This week, the first race we're going to look at is race 7 at Sha Tin, the Sunbird Handicap. And here our winning factor is the class change. Let's have a look at the field. As we look across the runners here, there are two horses in this race changing class. One is Ho Ho Field, up the top of the weights from the Dennis Yip camp, but is dropping back to class 4 for the first time since a big win over this track and distance in April, and Le Panache, who is rising in class after a very easy class 5 win 2 weeks ago. They both appeal as strong chances in this race, and many punters will settle on the horse dropping in class as having the better setup. But now I'm going to show you some statistics that will debunk one of the great myths that class 5 winners struggle in class 4, or that horses rising in class are the ones up against it. As you can see from our figures, 13.8% of the time the horse rising in class is able to win, while 6.8% is all that the horses dropping in class can manage. To many punters that will seem counterintuitive, but perhaps the answer that we could come up with is that horses rising in class are younger, they're horses on the way up and more progressive. Horses dropping in class are often older horses, maybe with injury problems and out of form, so they struggle to win. But when we isolate these class changes into the different classes, as you see on this graphic, now we can see that it's actually quite a smooth curve of what percentages win going up and down in class. It doesn't make a big difference what the classes are. If anything, the horse rising from class 5 to class 4 is the best performer of the class risers. And what we have here is Le Panache rising in class, coming off a very easy win in class 5 at his last start. As we look at the final stages after a great Douglas White ride, here he is coming away over the final stages to win by a big margin. Now, I settled on the class change as the winning factor for Le Panache in this race, but it could easily have been his trainer, Benno Jung. Benno is a somewhat underrated trainer in many areas and has done a great job with Le Panache, turning his form around in 5 starts with 2 wins and a second. But he's also one of our trainers who excels with in-form horses. Next, you're going to see a graphic of our top 4 trainers when it comes to last start winners being able to win again. Now, normally a last start winner wins about 1 time in 6 at the next time he's produced. But there are trainers in Hong Kong who fall well short of that mark and others who exceed it. John Size stands out with more than 1 in 4 of his last start winners being able to win again. But high on the list too are David Hall, Chris So and Benno Jung. So our tip in race 7 with a winning factor of the class change is Le Panache, and Benno Jung's record with last start winners is extra cream for the cake. The second race we're going to have a look at this week is race 5, and the winning factor here is the draw. Now, we're going to have a look at the field in a moment and take particular note of the horses drawn in barrier 1 and 2. Now, John Moore trained Good Beauty has barrier 1 and Sun Touch is in barrier 2, and that configuration I think is going to be vital to the outcome of this race. Now, the one we're most interested in here is Good Beauty. Before he came to Hong Kong, he was 2 from 2 in Australia, and he's had 3 starts in Hong Kong. And over that period, he's shown that he has a little bit of a hesitation when the barriers open. So we're going to show you his last 3 races in Hong Kong, the most recent first on September 2, opening day. And on this occasion, Good Beauty was a bit slowly away. Derek Lung then drove him forward to put him into the race, but unfortunately he was caught wide from that outside barrier. Now, 2 runs ago, at the end of last season, Good Beauty also drew wide and was a little bit slowly away before he got back near the tail of the field and ran on into 4th placing. In fact, the best he's jumped was his first start in Hong Kong, where we see him on the very outside here. He jumped particularly well this day, but it was no good to him because he had barrier 14. He was forced to go all the way back in the field, and again, he was running on at the finish. So Good Beauty isn't exactly terminal at the start, he just hesitates a little bit. Those races were all over 1200 metres, this one is 1400 metres, and that's a key point too. But with the configuration of Sun Touch, the very likely leader of the race, drawn immediately outside him, and Good Beauty having the rails, even if he's a little bit slowly away in this race, he's going to find Sun Touch up in front of him, burrowing along the rails and making a run for Neil Callan to follow through. And that should land him in a perfect spot, trailing the speed. Our tip, Good Beauty, the winning factor, the draw, which should help him out a lot more than the wide barriers that he's had so far. That's it for this week's winning factor. Good luck on Sunday.